one day this will be your kingdom.
Now they trying to act like they Game of Thrones, but they're not exactly. But I will say, one of the great things about Rings of Power is that, first of all, hanging out, and look, anything Game of Thrones is brutal, all right? Mars says, oh, that's an understatement right there. You know, anything with Game of Thrones is so brutal that it is nice to take a break and go frolicking with these hobbits. And
that is exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So like they're not for these two things, as similar as they are not for the same audience. And Game of Thrones is wonderful. But man, you just feel icky. You got nobody you can really root for, because once you do, they're gonna do something shitty and make you feel bad.
Yeah.
But with the Rings of Power, okay, I do have some good people.
Yes,
I can invest in.
I can hang out with these hobbits all day.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about getting stabbed in the back or anybody trying to take something from me or killing me in a gruesome way. Double Toasted live in Las Vegas is coming up very soon, and tickets are selling fast. So get your tickets now by going to x1entertainment.com/double-toasted and join us for a night of comedy, music, games, and our after party. And we'll see you there soon. So a lot of people are talking about, man, when you gonna get on that dragon, boy?
I'm telling you that, man.
Yeah, no.
Dragon's good.
I thought we got you off the dragon.
Yeah, when you gonna start chasing that dragon, man? Not that kind of dragon. We talking about the House of the Dragon. Finally saw it.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen.
I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Oh, Matt Reeves in this. Is that his name?
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith. Who the hell is Matt Reeves? Anyway,
The director of your favorite movies.
Oh, they're both good people, man. They're both awesome.
You like Matt's.
I wish he wasn't here. Nah, Matt Smith used to be the Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor Who. Yeah, he's great in this, man.
Every time he walks into a scene, it's like, what's he gonna do?
I know.
It's crazy ass.
Chaos in the room.
And he's just like, hey, everybody.
Everything with him is a swagger with his head down, looking like this. What might I get into next?
Who's he gonna kill? Who's he gonna have sex with? Who's gonna be sassy to?
Who's he gonna do both to?
Yes, definitely, all three.
And right before he gets kicked out again.
Oh, right back.
Oh, you crazy Damon, you.
So like every show ends with him like, and stay out.
Yeah, people. So I saw it. This is not a review, but I will give a quick review of this. Finally, getting back into that good Game of Thrones shit. You know, getting back into some good old backstabbing. Figuratively and literally in some cases here. Yeah, man. Back to being confused who to root for. Because every time somebody you say they're a piece of shit, then they'll do something like, oh, well, that was kind of awesome. Shit, nah, I like you, man. Why you doing this? You're confusing me.
Yeah, but it's just wait.
Oh, I know.
Yep.
I know. That's what it is every time. Just wait. And everybody picked up after themselves here. Not a Starbucks coffee cup anywhere. No water bottles left behind people's feet. Clean. You know, I really did enjoy this show, man. I was dreading them doing another Game of Thrones, whether it's a prequel, a sequel, or whatever. And not because I was even going to watch. I just thought, haven't you tarnished this enough?
Sure.
Can we just leave well enough alone here? But surprisingly, man, I mean, one of the things with this is that this is based on a series of books, as Chris told me, it has an ending.
They already figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire and blood. And it's even referenced, the story's even referenced in Game of Thrones, the Dance of Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War. So it's like, all right, just fill in the little, extra details.
So I'm impressed with what they're doing here, man. Very much so. It's very, again, for anybody who loved what made Game of Thrones what it is, just pretty much the politics and all of the treachery that's going on. All these people crossing each other for a power grab. It's very good.
Yes.
I'm eager to see where it goes. I'm definitely hooked now. But one of the things that had me watching this also was that I watched the Amazon Lord of the Rings show that they have their, what is it?
Rings of Power.
The Rings of Power, which has a lot of great things going for it, but it just wasn't for me. And again, there's a lot of people who are enjoying this very much. I know that it had like a huge premiere on Amazon, right? One of the most highest rated shows, or viewed shows.
I believe so,
Yeah.
But they're doing such a promotional push that if you have Adobe Creative Cloud and you open any one of those programs, the opening screen is some art done based on this show.
Wait a minute, is that who that chick is?
Yes, that's Galadriel. Yes,
I was wondering who that
when you
was,
open
man.
Photoshop and she's there like this. Yeah.
Yeah, some chick holding the sword. I was like,
Galadriel.
Yeah. You'll open Illustrator or Premiere. You'll see different characters from the
damn.
show.
Jeff even bought out Adobe. All right. I want to do kind of a comparison between the two. And this is not to shit on one or to promote the other. It's not. It's just, Chris and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about how House of the Dragon works, and him and I felt like, these are things that maybe Rings of Power should be doing. Not the same exact way, but then again, at the same time, like I said, we had a discussion about it, and Martin, you enjoyed this very much. Are you still watching?
I am.
Okay, so and you still enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm still liking it. I was in love with it before, and now it's like, okay.
Why your dick shrinking?
I'm watching both right now.
Yeah, I'm watching both too. Now I just got to episode 4. I'm actually on episode 4 for both of these because I just haven't had time to watch all of them yet.
A lot of TV.
Yeah, it is a lot of TV to watch. This is not to shit on one and promote the other. And some people saying, so why make the comparison then? And I think because there's a lot there that's very similar. That's the only reason why.
The costumes.
Well, yeah, of course, all that. Well, here's for one, they're both popular fantasy franchises, heavily ingrained in pop culture. 2, they're both adapted from literature with the series of extremely popular books that are covering different time periods of that world. 3, both had big budget TV show adaptations, man. Huge budgets for both of these shows. And they're coming out at the same time. And 4, people don't want black people in them. So that's true. I mean,
it was one thing when it was Game of Thrones. Now they're taking over the rings too. Oh hell no.
Yeah. You took the thrones. Now you're taking our rings. God damn, man, we can't have nothing. For a large chunk of this show, House of the Dragon, it's only one black dude. I mean, there's more that come along later, but really, it's just
beginning. It's just one.
And even the rest of them are just kind of hanging out in the background.
Yeah.
So I don't know but y'all don't want people to have even an inch. You don't want nobody to have a smidgen.
Slippery slope.
See,
let one in, and then
they go all move in.
There goes the neighborhood.
And next thing you know, there goes the kingdom.
Taking over Westeros. Look what happened.
I actually root for the success of both these shows. Because while they both have a lot in common, they do offer different tones, man. House of the Dragon couldn't be any more different, except for the things we mentioned. Couldn't be any more different from a Lord of the Rings or Rings of Power.
I am not the hero you seek.
One day this will be your kingdom.
Now they trying to act like they're Game of Thrones, but they're not exactly. But I will say, one of the great things about Rings of Power is that, first of all, hanging out, and look, anything Game of Thrones is brutal. All right. Mars says, "Oh, that's an understatement right there." Anything with Game of Thrones is so brutal that it is nice to take a break and go frolicking with these hobbits. And
that is exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So they're not for these two things, as similar as they are not for the same audience. And Game of Thrones is wonderful. But man, you just feel icky. You got nobody you can really root for, because once you do, they're gonna do something shitty and make you feel bad.
Yeah.
But with the Rings of Power, okay, I do have some good people.
Yes.
I can invest in.
I can hang out with these hobbits all day.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about getting stabbed in the back or anybody trying to take something from me or killing me in a gruesome way.
The hobbits, the Harfoots, even the dwarves are cool.
Even the dwarves are cool. I can get a beer with them. Not have to worry about them putting poison in my brew or anything like that. It's good to go. It's good to just kick back in what do you call it? The Middle Earth. It's cool to just cool back in Middle Earth. When you need a break. It's like Game of Thrones is the job. Middle Earth is a vacation. And I love it, man. Well, I've never been crazy about the gratuitous sex in Game of Thrones. Of course, I can't show you any of that, but it's getting to the point now where Game of Thrones is so popular, and they can get away with a lot more, that they're almost porn now. And I know that's an exaggerated thing to say, but there was a scene I saw. I don't want to be graphic, but I saw a woman's asshole.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so now we can show that. Okay. Didn't even look like she wiped it.
Oh yeah, by the time they do the next series, it'll just be straight porn.
Yeah.
With a little bit of fighting here and there.
Again, hanging back. It's nice to go to Middle Earth where people aren't so horny. I just want to.
Well, I wouldn't want those people. Look how dirty they are.
That's why I'm there. I ain't that a.
Exactly.
I'm just kind of have. It's like going to the Renaissance fair or something, you know.
I just want to frolic and eat a turkey leg.
Exactly. I just want to dance around the maypole or something, you know.
It's a fertility pole you're dancing around.
Somebody says I don't rental the asshole. I think you get it for free, man. I think they said I don't recall. It's in there. It's brief. It's not like in front of the screen.
And it's not one of the main. That's the one thing I will say is like for a lot of these, the House of the Dragon in particular, the main actor's like, we're not going to get naked.
right.
You do that with all the tertiary extras.
There's a couple of actors that get naked, man. Matt Smith is one of them, and his side chick.
Oh, that's true. But she ain't a main character.
Thing with House of the Dragon, before we get into it, if anybody is not watching this, it is a time, 72 years or something like that before.
Nearly 200 years.
Nearly 200 years. And we deal with House Targaryen. And they before they would, with the new Game of Thrones, they were trying to find a dragon, like they were trying to find a nuclear weapon or something, a nuclear bomb. Yeah. Everybody here has dragons already. But of course, that don't last long. When a king dies, all of a sudden there's a vacuum there, and everybody wants to be the king now. At least, or the queen, or at least somebody that has a hell of a lot of influence. You deal with people with the king. What is his name? King Viserys, who seems like a good man.
But he's a good king.
Well, don't tell me what I haven't got. I don't want to.
No, I'm just saying. But
I'm just saying, being a good man is not anything that benefits you in this world.
But he's a good king.
He's had to make several hard decisions. But for Game of Thrones, he's a good man.
You don't envy his position.
No.
Right. No. Yeah. Everybody wants it, and he's struggling at it. Yeah. And everybody can see that. Everybody's like, yeah, you're a good king and all, but you ain't gonna be here long.
But you ain't gonna be here long, and this man still got some life in him. He still got some years left, but that don't stop people from plotting and planning. And he has a lot of people say, well, he probably only got a few left. And now everybody wants to find an excuse to be an heir. I'm a brother. I'm your daughter. That kid you got, like, look, I was first, and that's a bastard, right? All kind of people make all kind of excuses. It's typical Game of Thrones. People going for the power grab right here. But here's the thing. Like I said, I don't want to shit on one or the other, But the thing is, having seen Rings of Power first, which I was, as you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of. House of the Dragon did put into perspective even more my criticisms of the show. I think House of the Dragon at this moment is telling their story, and again, it's not taking the tone out and everything. It's just not a matter of both of them being fantasy and whatnot. I'm just talking about writing wise. I think that this show is doing a much better job, and I just want to explore why. A big complaint about Rings of Power, very first episode I said was the pacing. Mm-hmm. The pacing was off for me. House of the Dragon does not have that problem. It's setting up power grabs immediately with potential conflicts, betrayals, treachery, and I think what that does is that all of this sets up character. It builds character, and it's like a game. The audience is already thinking about who they want to root for. As I said in the first episode, they're already setting up conflict between Viserys and his brother Daemon, who feels like I'm the proper heir to the throne because I am blood. I'm your brother, and the brother's like, no, you're crazy. You're not getting this. In fact, I'm sending you away until you learn how to behave.
My family has just been destroyed. You have no allies at court but me. I have only ever defended.
You're like, you finished?
That's like a teenager getting yelled at by his dad.
Yeah, whatever, old man. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, you done?
You That everything I've given you, you've thrown back in my face.
He doesn't protect you. I would.
From what?
Yourself.
Oh shit! Yeah.
All right, got a point there.
Now, I'm going to pass this around the room because I want to ask a question and see what your opinion is on this, because where I think Rings of Power differs here is that, and again, this could be just a matter of taste. And I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong for this, but setup on Rings of Power is definitely slower and definitely more rooted in mystery to me. You know, something is happening, something big is going to happen, but it's taking its time leading up to it. You know, there's certain things that they've done. You know, we know Sauron is out there. You know, we know he's up to no good. But still, he's just kind of chilling in the background. You know, we don't really know yet, and we know what it leads up to at some point. But as far as this show goes, we don't know. You know, the mysterious giant. I'm on episode 4.
Hello?
And they've revealed a lot about him, but it's still taking its time getting to what it is. And it's not like they are putting a lot of information, for me, a lot of information out there, teasing me as to what this could allude to. It just really is just kind of going at his own steady pace and not really revealing too much. For me, taking their time like that has not added to the characters as much as it has for something like Game of Thrones. It does not build character as much. Again, that's a personal taste probably thing with me, but I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, several things to consider. One being that we've had, how many was it, 5 or 6 seasons of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
8? Oh, 8. So that's a lot to already build up this world where they don't even have to invest in world building because it's been done for them already. And with the Lord of the Rings, we had the movies.
Yeah.
But you know those that's been over time, and they were fairly simple in what they were trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
I think another big thing is that with House of the Dragon, we are dealing with just a political backbiting.
Yeah.
People trying to get over on each other to win the kingdom. That's fairly small and contained and relatable. These are things that we can all kind of see into. Like this is like watching Succession almost, except they're in armor.
Yeah.
But everybody can watch that. It's juicy. It's almost like a soap opera, but we can all relate, like see ourselves in that. Whereas Rings of Power, they're dealing with a huge evil and warring armies, and they're traveling great distances, and they're taking their sweet time about doing it. I mean, from what you're saying, yes, the pace could be picked up. There's so much where we're at like 4 or 5 episodes in. There's that feeling of like, I'm digging this, but I feel like we should be further along by now. That's
exactly how I feel. You know, that's a perfect way of putting it, man. I feel like we should be further along at this point. I don't know how you feel.
You know, it's funny. It's both. I know how both of these kind of stories end for each respective show. Obviously, for Rings of Power, it's like Sauron. He takes over and he leads his army, and then that's events of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know, we know that. And with House of the Dragon, like I know this. I know how the story ends. I know exactly what's going to happen. But I'm still more invested in this because it's about people, and that's what it is. It's about these relationships. Like we know the broad strokes, but now they're filling in with all these extra details. But Rings of Power, I think, is making a mistake. Like Tolkien, and even like the Lord of the Rings, some of the adaptations, they weren't like about a mystery. We knew what we had to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is your setup. Here's your characters, and go throw that ring into that mountain. This one's like, who is the old man? It's like Gandalf. I don't know. Who is Sauron? I'm like, I mean, you set up several characters, and you're taking so long with it. And the other thing too is like these characters aren't complicated.
Right.
Rings of Power. They are very straightforward. It's like what word would I use to define or to describe any of the House of Dragon characters? Complicated. How would I describe people like Galadriel? Mad, I guess. She's mad. Nori's curious, I suppose. Gandalf is derpy. I mean, that's it. Like they're very simple, straightforward, kind of dull people in a beautiful-looking world. Well, one show has their priorities, despite it being a fantastical thing with dragons and armies and crab people and all that. It's still about people. Well, the Rings of Power is not about people. It's about spectacle, and that's the problem I have with it. It's way too long with its storytelling and building these characters.
Well, you know what? Both of you talking about pacing and whatnot, and I brought that up, but you're talking about action. And there's a lot more action. Now, to be fair, that could be, again, attributed to just the brutal nature of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And, extends to House of the Dragon. And sure, there's a lot more dragon scenes. They're roasting people in battle.
Sure.
But his first episode had they had dismemberments, they had castrations, people's heads getting caved in. I had a graphic C-section.
Rough.
Yeah, and I'm saying, there's a lot more brutality that they have here. They had, they had, more traditional action, like they had a big jousting scene that went on. And again, that's a matter of personal taste where you stand on wanting more action, but I do think it does help pick up the pace a little bit just by the nature of it being action. Rings of Power is not trying to be an action show, so therefore I can't really say that. And it does have some cool action in it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's not even the action in Game of Thrones. Like, the action in Lord of the Rings is fine. The action in House of Dragon is fine. Like, they both look great.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, my favorite scenes, though, in House of the Dragon are not the action scenes. It's the conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff that happens in episode 4. Stuff that happens in episode 5. How 5 opens up, and it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's another Game of Thrones wedding in episode 5. Like, those don't go very well.
It does, especially when you get to that one, it leaves with the, oh shit, what's gonna happen now?
Exactly. It's like House of Dragon's like, I can't wait for the next episode because they set something up big. And with Lord of the Rings, I'm like, oh god, there's another episode. It's another one.
Oh, well, I know what to look forward now. So, but you speak of the dialogue.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, and it's funny because that's just what I want to bring up, man. Because I said before that I did not like the dialogue in Rings of Power. From the very beginning, I think it's stilted, and to be honest with you, I like it even less now that I've seen House of the Dragon. Because there's dialogue that's just bad. I'm sorry, not only is it stilted, but it's just bad. Sure, the dialogue in House of the Dragon is spicier and it's
They say the C word.
A lot. It's led with it's just laced with jabs at other people. There's they have that scene. I'll get to that scene in a little bit because it's a great scene. But I want to show you an example of how I think the writing in House of the Dragon, the dialogue made me think worse of the dialogue in Rings of Power, because I went back to another scene. They talking about ships and rocks. And I actually forgot about that. That line is terrible. It makes to me, now again, maybe I'm not smart to get it, but it just doesn't sound right to me. I mean, and maybe you'll explain it to me and I'll understand it better. I just didn't think it was very good written dialogue at the time.
Rocks are sinky because they look downwards to darkness. Boats float because they look up at shiny sky. Do you get it?
She's like, no, that makes no goddamn sense. I don't think that is great writing. For one, I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense. But the other thing is that, there's a lot of writing like that where they're just speaking in riddles, proverbs,
It's very
and whatnot.
flowery. It's very flowery.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a problem with it there. I get what he was saying, but I will say in the last episode or so, there's been some scenes where I was like, this isn't because it's stilted or flowery. This is just not very well written.
Yeah,
dialogue wise, there's just so many scenes like that where it's really up to whether the actor can do the lifting and pull it up, and some of them can do it and not all of them can. It's mostly with the elves. They're the ones that really come off that way, almost exclusively. But then you get to the dwarves, and the dwarves are fun. They're
dwarves are fun.
All of them, they have a lot of heart. They're human enough that anytime you spend with them, it's like, all right, now this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Can we do more of this?
The dwarves are a lot of fun, and I wish they would do more of that. Even the hobbits are fun, man. They know how to party, but it's just a lot of that dialogue. It's speaking in metaphors and whatnot. It's boring. Now I get over to House of the Dragon. Okay, yes, the language is spicier. The language is a little more back and forth. But I want you to see this scene right here, how it's just smarter. Because they have this scene with Viserys.
Viserys.
What's his name?
Viserys.
With King Viserys and his brother Daemon, who we've already seen. But Viserys has his side hand man, Otto. And in this scene, I'm not going to say what it is just yet. I want you to see it, then I'll explain. because Damon, Matt Smith's character, just starts with him in the middle of this royal court meeting. And there's a lot more of that scene than what you see, I think.
The Vale men are said to fuck sheep instead of women. I can assure you, the sheep are prettier.
Dear me.
You made about
You're like, oh, come on, man.
my word.
Honor your wife in
I'd
marriage.
gladly give Lady Rare to you, Lord Hightower, if you're in want of a woman to warm your bed.
Must you indulge him?
Why you do you like that, man? Come on, sit down. Be cool.
Like David's like, I ain't scared of you.
Singing movies. It's like, oh, what's up?
I mean, she did die, right?
I know.
If I said something wrong, you can correct me.
I like the way Otto stood up. Shit just got real. And that's a smart scene because first of all, the dialogue is just it's cracking, man. It's sharp. You know, it brings you in. But also, a lot of people who saw this probably already know that was Damon testing him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get a rise out of him.
Getting a rise out of him, but also just kind of trying to see where the loyalty, lies with, like his brother. He's trying to see, is my brother going to defend me? There's a lot of subtext to that scene, and I think there's not a lot of that you see in Rings of Power. Again, Rings of Power, as you said, Martin, it's not supposed to even be on the same level as Deepness is it, but still, writing is writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and taking the properties out of it, just again storytelling. I just think the writing is a little bit better, and I don't think that saying one is more meant for adults is an excuse for trying to, for the lack of writing something better. But again, and that's not to say that Rings of Power is not enjoyable, and it is lighter. But I did watch this and say, damn, I can see where. I can see now where they could pick the pace up.
Yeah.
I can see where the dialogue could be a little bit better. I mean, should we even point it out within the own show? Like the dwarves are hanging, they're cool and whatnot. That's me. I mean, you guys go ahead and please pick that up.
One thing on the dialogue with Lord of the Ring, because these episodes are long. They're about, I think the last one was even like over an hour.
Was it?
I think it was like an hour and 12 or something. But I feel like so much of what is being said can be said with half as much words. Because it's that flow. Like, and most of it has to do with the elves. I feel like we can cut down a lot of that elf stuff and we'd be in a much better place.
Yeah.
And we have more time to spend with more fun characters like the dwarves or even the Harfoots, even though I'm kind of getting tired of all right, just say he's Gandalf, goddammit. I'm sick of this mystery. But that's the one additional thing I'll say. So cut down some of this unnecessary dialogue because it's not adding anything to it.
Some in the chat says a lot of filler dialogue.
A lot of filler.
Feels like. I don't know. I'm not sitting back and I'm not one of these people who pick sides, because it feels good to be on a team. I'm rooting for the success of both these.
Having both shows do well means maybe there might be a third or fourth that could come up.
Yep.
Because nobody has spent this much money on fantasy in forever. It's been a long time.
And the diversity in it is great, man. I want to root for it. I've always thought, even though I like House of the Dragon more, I always thought that, Rings of Power, man, that could actually pick up.
Yeah.
It's still early. I would love. And Chris, you made a great point. You said, it just feels like all these people are at some point, all these characters that we know, they're going to come together.
I hope so. Because it hasn't really happened.
I know.
And I'm like, I mean, that's what I want. I want those interactions. Like people again, I hate to compare, but in House of Dragon, with people interact, it's like, oh shit, it's like it's going to go off. It's like a powder keg. With this one, it's like we're halfway through this first season. More than halfway, episode 5, and so you have 3 episodes left.
I know.
And so what's been done really?
And it's got about 8 different storylines running.
Yeah, it's too many.
So you're following all these, and hopefully the next 3 episodes, which like you said, they're long. Very long. So they're about an hour. I never know how long they are because I always eat a Diet Smoke first, which distorts my perception of time.
Yeah.
Well, that explains why you like it so much. You're high.
I do feel like this show is really more. It'll be more enjoyable if you're somebody who loves Lord of the Rings.
That's what yeah.
Like if you love it, then it's playing all these things, playing off the things you know and you dig it. And I don't love Lord of the Rings, but I like it, and I'm enjoying the show. Part of it is just I know part of it is that I'm just happy to see a quality production. And I love the art direction, and it's so much good going with it. It's just those things that aren't. I was like, all right, hopefully we'll fix that, and we'll just spend less time with the elves. There's a couple elves who are cool. Let's just see them.
Plus, you on that shit.
The old Toby on that Hobbit leaf, as it's called.
Well, you know, Gandalf walks around with a pipe. I figured.
Yeah, be like Gandalf. Listen. Of course, I want both shows to be great. I'm a fan of both properties. You know, I want both of them to succeed. You know, and it's funny. All the things we talk about, nothing to do with like the race of the characters. I could give a shit less there's a black dwarf or a black. Who cares? You know, that's fine. Actually, I like Disa. She's fun.
Oh yeah.
You know, in
Who's
the
Disa?
show.
Is she the wife?
She's the queen or the princess.
The dwarf.
Yeah, she brings personality to it, which is what the show
A lot of
needs.
personality.
Yeah, that's what the show is missing. It needs more personality. Stop being so goddamn stoic. You know, I know that's actually a part of like.
there she is right there.
I actually like her. I like the relationship he has with of Prince Durin. I think that's fun. More stuff like that. Just get these people together and go on this grand adventure. And I don't know, but the thing is, I don't even know that's what they're eventually going to do.
Exactly.
I know.
You don't know
like,
that.
Exactly.
It could be like maybe they look at Game of Thrones and go like, all right, these people are going to be all in their separate little places. And then by the 5th season, which I didn't know they had a deal where you have to do all 5 and they're together. But I'm saying like, well, you gotta do something interesting with the people that you have and the locations that you have them in. So I don't know. It's frustrating. I just go back to my whole thing where I'm excited for House of Dragon every week. It's on tonight, and then with Rings of Power, I'm just like, okay, there's another episode. I got.
Yeah,
okay. I don't know. It's a shitty. It sucks. I want to like both.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to change my mind because the last time I said, I was like, I don't have an urgency to watch this show. I said, if I didn't really have to watch it, I wouldn't be watching it. I was hoping that would change. And I mean, I will watch it, but I'm watching not really wanting to.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of bored watching it, man. Yeah. But I mean, again, that sounds really bad of me to say that because there's some people out there who are enjoying it. And I'm glad for those who are.
If they're liking it, they're liking it. No, please do. Like what you like, dislike what you dislike.
Yeah, I hope you do. You stupid ass. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. That's. But I'm gonna try that gummy thing, man. I'm gonna get some
try that
smoke.
too.
Yeah, next week 5 stars. 10.
I couldn't tell you what happened, but it was amazing when I saw it.
There's plenty of times where I was like, all right, I feel like this episode's about to hit the halfway mark, and I was like, it's been 10 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what edibles do to me. It makes everything long.
Yep. All right, y'all.